If you live with Parkinson's and you've ever been so tired that brushing your teeth felt like cardio, then this episode is for you. And I'm not talking about the I didn't sleep great kind of tired. I'm talking about the kind of tired where you've almost done nothing all day and somehow you still need a nap to recover from it. Today, we're talking about Parkinson's fatigue, why rest doesn't fix it, and why it makes absolutely no sense. And why I think we're finally allowed to laugh about it just a little bit. And stay with me till the very end because I've got a Bryceism that perfectly explains why this kind of tired hits so differently.
Welcome to Living with Parkinson's. The good, the bad, and the reality. Real talk, real life, real community with Bryce Perry. Let's begin.
All right, welcome back. If this is your first time here, I'm Bryce, and I was diagnosed with Parkinson's at the age of 40 over 15 years ago. And what we do here is we talk honestly about life with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality in between. And if you've been around for a while, you already know we don't sugarcoat things here, but we also don't lose our sense of humor. If this kind of content helps you, hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss future episodes. Now, we're building this series one real conversation at a time. Now, let's be honest. Fatigue with Parkinson's is crazy. It's weird. It doesn't follow rules. It doesn't care about how busy your day looked. And it doesn't respond to rest the way people expect it to. I've had days where honestly I didn't do very much. And by mid-afternoon, I'm thinking like, wow, just existing really took a lot out of me today. If you've ever felt that way, put a me too in the comments so I know I'm not the only one. Now, let me paint you a picture. I wake up. I have coffee. I sit down. 2 hours later, exhausted. Not from errands, not from exercise, just from being awake. There are days where unloading the dishwasher feels like a full body workout. And there are days where I sit down to rest and somehow wake up more tired than when I started. And for a long time, I thought, gosh, I am just getting completely lazy. Nope, that is not the truth at all. So if you're feeling that way, I want you to listen to this. Here's what actually happens in really plain English. Parkinson's fatigue isn't about muscles. It's about your nervous system. Your brain is working harder just to do normal things. Movement, balance, thinking, and focus, things that normally would come naturally to people, don't to us. So even when your body looks fine on the outside, your brain is burning fuel like crazy on the inside. It's like your phone battery says 62%, but the second you open the camera, it dies. That's Parkinson's fatigue. And no amount of just push through it will fix it. So if rest doesn't fix Parkinson's fatigue, then what helps? I'm so glad you asked. Let me walk you through 5 things that didn't just sound good on paper. They actually changed how I live with fatigue day to day. And as I go through these, tell me in the comments which number hits you the hardest. Just drop the number in there. All right, well, here's tip number 1. Stop judging fatigue by how much you did. Now, this one I work on every day. I'm not going to say I'm perfect at it, and it took me a really long time to understand it, though. See, we look back at the day and we think, I barely did anything. Why am I so tired? But Parkinson's doesn't charge you by activity. It charges you by effort. Your brain is working overtime just to stay balanced, just to move smoothly, to filter out noise, to think clearly, and keep your body organized. So even a light day can be neurologically expensive. The reframe that helped me was this. My body isn't failing, it's reporting. Okay? Now, if that line hits home, type reporting in the comments. And here's tip number 2. Plan energy, not your time. Plan your energy, not your time. This one changed everything for me. This one is huge. Most people plan their day by the clock. People with Parkinson's need to plan by energy windows. I used to say, I'll do this at 2 o'clock. Now I ask, When do I usually feel most human? For me, that's often late in the mornings. So that's when I schedule my movement, my appointments, my phone calls, my thinking tasks. Afternoons, that's for low energy stuff or recovery. Same number of hours, just way less frustration. Tip number 3, exercise helps fatigue, but the dose matters. Now, this is where a lot of people get tripped up, and we've talked about this in the episodes just past. Yes, exercise helps Parkinson's fatigue long term, but short term, it can feel brutal. I used to think exercise had to be long, sweaty, and impressive. Wrong. What helped my fatigue wasn't harder workouts. It was consistent movement that didn't bankrupt my energy bank account. 5 minutes counts. 10 minutes counts. Stopping before exhaustion counts even more. So if exercise ever makes you avoid it completely, then you know the dose is too high. You're trying to do way too much. All right, tip number 4, schedule recovery before you need it. Now, this sounds boring, but it's so powerful. If you wait until you're exhausted to rest, you've waited too long. I start building recovery into my day on purpose, not as an emergency. And that might mean sitting down before symptoms spike, or laying flat for 5 minutes, or just closing my eyes without sleeping. Think of recovery time like charging your phone at 30% instead of waiting for it to hit 0. Your nervous system will thank you later. So here's a bonus tip on this one. What I've done lately and what's helped me the most is in those moments, I don't want to sleep, right? I'm just feeling fatigued. I close my eyes, I put on some music. And I don't know whether you know this or not, but Doing Life Today, we actually have a music station that we actually have Parkinson's music specifically for Parkinson's. Hope, inspiration, you name it. You know what? I'll put the link in the description below, but check it out. It's I heard that the person that wrote the songs is he's a pretty cool guy. Anyway, check it out. Link in the description. As we move into tip number 5. And tip number 5 is this: talk about fatigue before it turns into isolation. So fatigue doesn't just drain energy, it shrinks lives. You cancel plans, you feel guilty, and then you stop making plans at all. So I've learned to name fatigue early, out loud, not as an excuse, but as information. Saying, today is a low energy day, keeps people connected instead of confused. And you have the permission to say that. So if even one of these tips helps you work with fatigue instead of fight the fatigue, then this episode did its job. And make sure you're subscribed, because the next episodes build right upon this one. Now, if you're doing this alone, before we get to Carmen's Care Partner Corner, I want to talk directly to you. When you live alone, fatigue is harder. Let's be honest. There's no one to notice you fading. There's no one to say, hey, maybe take a break. So you've got to become your own early warning system. One thing that helped me when I was alone was naming my yellow light moments. Not exhausted, just slow it down. And when I respect the yellow light, I avoid crashing into the red. And if you're solo and that just made sense, drop a heart in the comments just so I know that it's connecting with you. All right, well, now it's time for, seems like everybody's favorite, Carmen's Care Partner Corner. And here's what my wife, Carmen, wanted me to share with you today. One of the hardest things about Parkinson's fatigue is that it doesn't look logical. Early on, I thought rest should fix it. I thought if Bryce had a quiet day, he should feel better. What I've learned is that fatigue doesn't follow rules. And when I stopped questioning it and started believing it, everything changed. One tip for care partners: don't measure your partner's fatigue by how busy the day looked. Measure it by how hard their body had to work just to get through it. And here's my Carmenism of the day. Looks, he got them all the time now. Just because Parkinson's fatigue doesn't make sense doesn't mean that it's not real. Oof. That was a good one. Thank you, Carmen, for that. And thank you for seeing us. And thank you to all care partners out there for listening and seeing us. All right, your turn. If you want to share, finish one of these sentences and put it in the comments. Parkinson's fatigue usually hits me when blank. Or the most frustrating thing about Parkinson's fatigue for me is blank. You never know who you'll help just by being honest. Wow, this episode went fast for me, but here it is. You've made it this far. Here is your Bryceism of the episode. With Parkinson's, you can do nothing all day and still be exhausted from the meeting that your brain scheduled without telling you. All right, well, until next time, I want you to keep showing up. I want you to keep being real. And as always, I want you to keep doing life and doing it today.
Parkinson's may be part of your life, but it doesn't get to define it. Thanks for listening to Living with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality. If this episode moved you, helped you, or reminded you you're not alone, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Want to go deeper? The Inner Circle is waiting. Monthly Zoom calls, 24/7 community, and a direct line to Bryce. You'll find the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep showing up and keep doing life today.